Okay, so I'm here with Craig Coakley. He won the Mauy Thai Grand Prix, road to one championship. The contract, obviously you won it. How did it feel winning it?
Yeah, it was a very good feeling, obviously, because I've been working for it for a long time now. But again, I placed myself there a long time ago. You know what I mean? I thought I belonged there a long time ago. So in my eyes, it was a long time coming type thing as well. But yeah, no, it was very good. It was emotional, you know what I mean? To then realise, right, now we're actually after making it.
Yeah, no, and obviously there was all your family there. And what was it like having been surrounded by them and with the performance? Because it was sensational, I must say.
Well, to be fair, like my two brothers are always in my corner, no matter what. They'll travel to see me fight. My ma will go a lot as well, so my family's nearly always in my corner, no matter what. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, it was a very good experience. Like I think 150 people over at that fight, so it looked like it was in Ireland, but it was in England. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was good, very, very good.
Yeah, that's a lot of people to bring over, but to get to where you are now, you had to start somewhere. When was your entry into combat sports? Was it Muay Thai? Was it boxing? How did you fall into it?
So, coming from inner city, comling from Ireland, Dublin, it's football or boxing. But where I'm from, it was mainly boxing. So I was thrown into a boxing gym when, I don't know, I was fairly young though. Never really took to it. Boxing, you know yourself, you're kind of just left on a bag, or left shadow boxing, or you have to be kind of seen to be good before someone comes and starts working with you, you know what I mean? So I didn't really like that. Left that, got involved in the flats and got involved in the streets, and I think I was about 14, 15, and there was a gym not too far down the road from here. It was in the Broadstone in Fisborough. It was an MMA gym. It was actually me, Court, a couple of other lads from around the flats were training this gym, but I was mainly jiu-jitsu, you know what I mean? It wasn't actually an MMA gym.
Yeah.
So was doing that for about 2 years. I had fought in the MMA leagues once or twice. Then was wanting to take it a little bit more serious. I was like, I want to fight MMA. This is what I'm gonna do, type thing. I'm a realist, you know what I mean? So I knew that I needed more striking, you know what I mean? So looking for a gym, one of my good friends, James, there was a gym around the corner from him. I was in a shed in the back of Summerhill. Like, you had to walk down a pitch black lane to get to this. Now I'm in a shed not bigger than this, so there was about 3 bags and a ring in it, and that was it. That was the first Muay Thai gym I went into. I'd say I was about 17 when I went into Muay Thai. Fell in love with the sport. I fell in love with, not the tradition so much, but I fell in love with Muay Thai, you know what I mean? I fell in love with striking.
Yeah, and obviously you were saying that obviously you'd been involved in the streets and the flats. Like, that was a good, do you think for any young person that will be listening to this, that if they are involved in situations like that they should go into a combat sports, not just Muay Thai, MMA, or do something to focus?
Do something, yeah. I truly agree with that. Because look, coming from these areas, it doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad person. You can just be sucked into bad things fairly easy. Do you know what I mean? Again, you come from these type of places where it's pure poverty, you know, so people are looking for ways to make money. So you'll do it at all costs type thing. But yeah, if you're coming from areas like these and you don't like that type of life, then yeah, I think any type of sport will get you away from that. Whether it's football, rugby, boxing, MMA, you know, I think combat more so, because it lets you release a lot of aggression as well, you know what I mean? Most kids coming from areas like this have got real problems and real struggles, so they will actually have a lot of anger. So I think being able to put that anger into something is very helpful.
Yeah, 100%. And like that, it is so easy nowadays to go astray with it. It's everywhere at the minute. But when you first went into that little gym down Summerhill, down that little lane, did you ever envision yourself competing? Did you want to compete, or did you just want to learn it, or did you know straight away, I want to fight?
I had the intention of fighting MMA, so I went into that gym with the intention to fight MMA. But I'd say after about 2 or 3 weeks, my coach at the time was like, I think you should have a fight, like, you're actually really good. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, you know what I mean? Like, then after another 2 or 3 weeks, I got me matched, and I had my first fight, I think, within the first 2 months of me training. But after my first fight is when I was like, right, this is what I want to do. This is some buzz, you know what I mean?
And what was it about the fight? And then talk to us about when you got the fight, the feelings going into it. Like what was it like? What was the nerves like? Because you were only doing it for such a short length of time.
Well, coming from, again, flats, you kind of you're involved in like a few scraps growing up, no matter what, you know what I mean? Whether you're a bully, whether you get picked on, you're always going to be in a situation where you're going to have to fight someone. I think, anyways, you know what I mean? Coming from these type of areas. So, I fought before, but yeah, the nerves are completely different because you know you're going to fight someone. Sometimes you don't know you're going to fight someone on the street, you know what I mean? It's just kind of on the fly type thing. But yeah, an organised fight, it's a lot different. You have to deal with the emotions, and that was something that I think I'm very good at. I think my mindset coming into fight is it's very, very strong, you know what I mean? Like, coming from fucking flats and having to fight people on the street where they can do what they want to you, you know what I mean? To going in and fighting someone that they can only punch, kick or knee.
Yeah.
It's a lot different. So that's kind of what I tell myself as well. But yeah, it's good to be able to deal with nerves.
Yeah, and then obviously, like you said, your background was able to help you. But what was it about the fight? What was the result, actually? And
my first fight, yeah, I won second round stoppage. I broke the man's nose, but he had that big headgear and all on, yeah. I think I had 4 amateur fights before I turned C class. So in Thai there's different classes. There's C class, B class, and well, there's amateur, C class, B class, and A class. C class is basically there's no elbows, there's no knees to the head. It's 3 rounds. It's 2-minute rounds. Some C classes 5 rounds, but it's 1.5 minutes. Then B class it usually goes into 5 rounds, 2-minute rounds, knees to the head, no elbows. Then A class is full Thai rounds, elbows, knees to the head, everything. 3-minute rounds.
And then, like, is there a certain time limit for people to progress, or is it just based on the individual?
Based on the individual. Obviously, there's people that progress a lot faster than others. But in Ireland, personally, I think there's not enough fights, there's not enough shows going on. I shouldn't have progressed as fast as I did. Now, I'm fairly good on the fly, you know what I mean? I'm fairly good at adapting to situations. So I adapted very well, and like I shot up very well. But like, you've fighters gone from like an amateur fight or 4 fights in to go to taking off shin pads pro, basically, yeah. Like, your fighters in England that have 50 fights, 50, 60 fights before they turn C class. So obviously they're very, very experienced before they get in, so they're real tricky, you know what I mean? They're real good, they've good sweeps, they score very well, and I think my thing was I was a fighter, you know what I mean? I could always fight. So I broke people down that way. But again, you see a lot of Irish fighters that go over and they just get outpointed very, very easily because of the experience level that the English have. So I think that, like, in Ireland we should try and get more shows and stuff like that on, or even in the clubs, you know what I mean? Like, coming to each other's gyms and having hard spars type thing. So then that are like, we'll get more experience throughout and we'll learn more, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was talking to Neve from Hammerhead, and that's what the majority of her fights are actually in the UK, because she says they're running like every weekend, nearly every second weekend.
Like, you can have a fight every week in the UK. Like.
And how many shows here would run on average a year?
Like, don't know. So there's the Lanka show, Martin Horgan has a show, Cowley has a show.
That's about it.
Do you know what I mean? Other than that, Hammerhead have a show sometimes.
Yeah, so
other than that though, there's no other shows. Yeah,
so did you find yourself, obviously, actually, when you realised that, like, fighters before they go from the amateur to the C class, that they have that many fights, when you progressed that quickly, did that make you very confident in your abilities and what you were doing?
I always thought I was an animal, I'm not going to lie, you know what I mean? I had a lot of self-belief in me, so I've always kind of thought, yeah, I can do this, I can beat these people. Like, I think for me, I've only 30 fights, and I think it was my 22nd or 23rd, I fought one of the all-time greats. I fought Singnam, a fella with 300 odd fights. You know what I mean? So self-belief is there. You know.
That was the fight that you were robbed in, I believe, wasn't it?
Well, it's debatable. So
yeah.
the way Thai is scored is very subjective. So supposedly Thai is meant to be scored on effect, right? Meaning, you hit me 3 times, I show no effect off them 3 shots. I hit you 1 time, you show a little bit of effect off that shot, I'm ahead. Okay? Now, it's not that it's watered down, but in different reasons they'll say, like, kick scores better than knees score better than elbows, so on and so forth. Now, all over Thai, hands score the least, right? So boxing is the least scored thing unless you're snapping a fighter's head back. But through WBC, they changed it. So they made all weapons with effect score the same. So if we punch you and shows a little bit of effect, it scores the same as if you knee me or kick me. So going into that fight, we were told these rules, yeah? And I was like, right, box, you know what I mean? I was kicking a knee and an elbow as well, but boxing heavy. I went very boxing heavy and he kicked heavy, obviously. So it is subjective. I thought I won through what WBC scored is meant to be, but if we were in a stadium in Thailand, I'd have been outscored. Okay?
Yeah, so it sounds like it needs to be more unified.
Yeah, exactly. Like everyone needs to be on the same page type thing.
Yeah, because like that, it is like for winning and losing like that, it means a lot to one person and a lot to the winner and the loser, and then not knowing exactly what you're going in to face, like, is this just going to look at this way or that way? Yeah. But as you were going through it, like you are where you are now, did you ever, like you said, you thought you should have been here a long time ago, but in those early days, is this what you were dreaming of? Like,
yeah, thinking of fighting all these big names, like obviously watching people like Sancho, Singnam, like, I always thought to myself, like, I'd love to fight someone like this, you know what I mean? Put myself in there, see where I'm at. Because it's not only like just to fight them, it's like it shows you where you're at. How good are you, you know what I mean? Like, I think it is a common MMA and boxing thing to kind of like pad your record a little bit. To fight these fighters that you shouldn't actually be in there with. Like, you get fucking 40-1 fighters fighting someone that's undefeated, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Or 1 in 40 fighters fighting someone that's undefeated. What sense does that make? He's going in there to destroy that person. Do you know what I mean? What are you going to learn from that?
No.
And you see it a lot then when fighters do eventually take the step up, what happens? Do you get a shock? If they get hit and hurt, they don't know what to do, they don't know how to handle it because they've never been in that situation before.
Yeah, well, I'm interested to hear your opinion on this. In the likes of boxing, obviously, when you lose your zero, you consider, like a lot, and this might sound stupid, you consider it's finished. It seems like MMA might be going that way as well.
But that's for the exact same reason, because of people padding their records.
Yeah. Do you think like that? Do you think that stigma should be taken away? Like, because, like, what would it, just say an average Thai fight, like how many
losses? Yeah. Well, I think 33 fights, 5 losses, and I'm considered one of the best. You know what I mean? But like, there's nothing wrong in losing. Like in losing, you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn way more than a loss than you're gonna learn in any win, and that's a fact. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes when you're constantly winning, you don't actually evaluate where you're going wrong, because it's like, it's not broke down, fix it.
Yeah.
You know, you hear that a lot with people. If it's not broke down, fix it. But why not? Why do you not want to fix it? Why do you not want to improve? Why do you not want to get better? So through loss, you'll see people be like, oh, right. You see a lot of people leaving gyms because they lose. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't have self-belief in their gym anymore because, well, it wasn't me that went wrong. It was them that went wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you now, because that's interesting you say that, do you now look at your wins as well and evaluate where you've gone wrong?
Like, to be honest, so the biggest, for me, coming up, obviously I had a lot of wins, but going in, my biggest, how will I say, the biggest learning lesson in a fight was the Mauy fight, the one I got knocked out in, the only time I got actually sparked in a fight. Coming into that fight, I think I was on 3 or 4 years where I hadn't lost a fight. I think I had like 17 fights and 15 of them were stoppages, you know what I mean? It was something ridiculous anyways. Going into that fight, I thought I was untouchable. It was like, this fella isn't gonna do nothing, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden he's touching me, and I'm getting not emotional, but thrown emotionally. Do you know what I mean? Because I think he shouldn't belong in there with me. And then eventually walk onto a shot because of that. So I think like stuff like that, you do need to learn. You need to learn through loss so you can evaluate it. Then obviously, yeah, you start to become a little bit more savvy and you look at where you go wrong. Not even where you go wrong in your wins, but what did I do wrong in that fight? You know what I mean? You could have a flawless victory or you could have a war where you win. You know?
Yeah. And then it's picking out that. Do you think, obviously, you felt that he shouldn't have been in there with you? Do you feel that might happen to a lot of fights? So you were obviously believing in your hype, and did that humble you then?
Yeah, it majorly humbled me, and I realised, right, you're not God's gift. You have to work on a lot of things here. And you come a little bit more savvy in your approach to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then you're talking about like the hard work. Mauy Thai, for me, is like, I've talked to a couple of people, they say it's probably one of the lowest paid sports out there. And the work that you have to put in, do you want, like, for people that don't understand, that might just turn up for a fight, see the 10, 15 minutes or whatever it may be, like what sacrifices do you make on a daily basis?
A lot, like, you have to give up time with your kids, you have to give up time with your family, you have to give up time with your friends, obviously. Like, you're a professional athlete as well, but you're just not treated like a professional athlete, you're not paid like a professional athlete. I don't know whether that's to do with promoters, I don't know whether that's to do with whatever, like, you see boxers get paid well, you see MMA fighters get paid well, why can't Thai fighters get paid? Well, one is doing it, you know what I mean? One is paying fighters what they need to be paid. But it could be because there's just so many cowboy promoters out there, you know?
Yeah, so it's like that, it depends where's the money coming from, and that. So with like sacrifice, so just talk to us maybe just a bit, like, do you cut much weight, like what's your diet like, what would you eat on a daily basis
now? A lot of shit, but oh no, in camp, yeah, I'd be fairly strict. I've someone that actually looks after me meals, RMC Food Company. He actually looks after me diet, but then obviously the last week when if they kind of tailor a little bit more, cut out salt and stuff like that, I'll do my own. But yeah, like I cut about, depending. So usually I walk around at about 74 kilos. I usually cut to 63.5, but going to one, the weights are different, so you have to be hydrated while you make weight. So obviously that changes a lot. So the last couple of fights have been at basically 66 kilos, 65.8 bantamweight. But making that hydrated, it will be a little bit of a struggle. So we're going to see, I think I'm going to do a little trial run and see what it's like to cut to that, do you know what I mean? While hydrated.
Yeah, because they've brought that in to stop people cutting huge weights. So I think it obviously isn't a major issue with you, but you see in MMA especially, people cut massive weights, and like that's not good for your brain, because it actually drains the fluids from your brain then as well.
Yeah, you're probably not going to perform to the best of your ability either. Now, I think what they're doing is probably a little bit more dangerous than normally cutting weight, do you know what I mean? Because people are going to try cut weight either way. So people are going to manipulate that either way. So you're seeing fighters actually drain themselves more than they should to hydrate to what they need to be. Do you know? So it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Not a lot of fighters are going to be rocking up like at their own body weight, the natural weight, to fight.
Yeah.
Obviously people want advantage no matter what.
Because it's professional, like those wins and losses mean so much at that level that they're gonna have to.
Yeah, they want that. Any little edge.
And anything that any rule or something that someone brings in, like you said, someone will find a way around it. And I believe I actually watched a video there recently. There is a way around it.
Oh, there's three. You know what I mean? There's three.
Yeah, there is ways around it. But you talked about like obviously the money in MMA and the money in boxing. Okay, so. There was talks I'd heard that you were toying, obviously you went in with the intention of MMA, and there was the idea of you toying of going back to MMA. What led to that? Was it money?
So, yeah, kind of. So, during COVID, I was just trying to get a fight, you know what I mean? I was thinking of any way of fighting that I possibly could. So, I was on the boxing promoters. We had a lot of lads that fight MMA in the gym that obviously working with me, a little bit of grappling or what have you, and they were all like, why don't you fight MMA? And I was like, I probably will. And at that time I'd lost I think 3 fights in a row two of them were bad robberies. I thought one of them was against Mauy. So I was just like, fuck this, you know what I mean? Like, I lost it against Mauy, and I had, I think it was George Mazzucato as a four, and I punched the head off him, like, punched him around, got blade and absolutely robbed. So it's like, right, then I had another fight after that, same thing happened. So it was just kind of like, what the fuck, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna get robbed no matter what, because I'm fighting everybody in the back gardens, you know what I mean? So it's like, right, it's time to have a fight in either boxing or MMA. Didn't end up happening because I got a fight in Dubai, in Thai, so.
And obviously it would be your passion as well. Was that one of the things that led to, once you got the fight in Dubai, were all the thoughts of MMA and boxing gone out the window?
Gone. Yeah.
Never to be thought of again. You said something there obviously about fighting people in their back garden. When you fight someone in Mauy Thai, like the judges, are they from that country then?
Yeah.
And
so right, always judges are going to be locally sourced, because why would you fly someone in to judge your show? Why are you going to play extras that not need to be paid? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
so I'm just a token Irish fella that's brought in to lose, you know?
Do you think that should be potentially changed though? Because there is a huge...
Or just have a big association that, like, so... Now I got to appeal the George fight, and that was overturned eventually after about 2 years. So it went as a win on my record. But, like, there's not enough of these organisations that you can, like, write into to ask these questions or ask these things, or make people have to explain why. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think, like, I don't think they need to do it publicly, because sometimes when wrestlers or judges make mistakes, people need to come out and make a statement. Yeah. I think they need to sit down with the fighter or the coaches and say, look, this is why I believe X, Y, Z.
You lost or he won.
And then maybe they can put it out and go...
and say, okay, well done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which is fair enough. Obviously, we're here in Dublin Grove Cafe, right next to the DCA. Yeah, right. So talk to us about Collie Matton. What is Collie Matton to you?
Me, so we started training together, me and Collier. So we started in a gym called Lionheart in Frederick Street, which was his cousin's gym. We progressed, obviously. We thought, look, we could do this ourselves. We'll open our own gym. Before then, we obviously fought. He fought and I fought basically at the same kind of time. And the coach of Lionheart was in the middle of moving to Thailand, and so Collie kind of took more on the coaching role. I was kind of coaching as well at the same time, but it came to a stage where both of us were, like, I was progressing more than he was, we'll say, yeah? And he took the back foot. He was like, right, you have potential here, Craig. I'll coach, you know what I mean? So that's a big thing for a fighter to do, you know? Like, it is a very big thing for a fighter to do, because fighters have egos, you know what I mean? And fighting is a very, very selfish game. And that was selfless. That was probably one of the most selfless things anyone's ever done. But yeah, class Collie is my brother. We've started together, and we'll end my journey with him. As a coach, he's an unbelievable coach. Like, as you say, like, Dublin Combat Academy run amok in any show they're on, you know what I mean? Whether it is abroad, whether it's in Ireland, I don't think got touched by anybody. Do you know what I mean? There's one or two other good gyms out there in Ireland, but I think we're producing the best fighters. Yeah,
and as well as producing them, there is a huge migration of MMA fighters coming to get the striking. Like, do you do one-to-ones with some of them? Like, when they come over here? It's obviously from the reputation that you have. Like, every week you get more and more people coming in.
Yeah, well, a lot of them would want to train at our gym, but I think in certain gyms, you're not allowed kind of thing, so some of them do have to try and keep quiet, and then you get the ones that come down, do the classes and train with us and get the work in with us, and you'll see them, they kind of progress a little bit more so than the ones that won't do. But yeah, I think we're like a little safe haven, we'll say, for MMA gyms all around the country. Like, I think we've fighters from SVG, fighters from Rhino, fighters from KF, fighters from FAI, we've fighters from Compound, Alex is from Compound as well. Like, so we've fighters from all over the country, MMA fighters from all over the country that come in here to work with us.
And then when obviously you've been top fighter here, and Craig, like, how does that make you feel when they're coming here? Like,
Yeah,
does that
good.
just validate what you're thinking?
Oh, well, it's not for me, it's for Collie,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, Collie's the coach, I'm just a fighter, I'm the pupil, you know what I mean? I love it because I get to work with new bodies, I get to see new styles, I get to try new things on different styles, you know what I mean? Like, if you can adapt to 10 different styles, then a fight in itself, you'll probably be able to change your style in that fight, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and do you think cross-training should be more of a thing within the country? It should happen a lot more because we are such a small nation.
Yeah, 100%. We are, like, I think one of the smallest countries out there that have some of the best fighters out there, do you know? But if we all come train together, we all grow together. Like, we shouldn't be saying this as you want to be the best in your country type thing. You should be saying this as you want to be the best in the world. And how do you be the best in the world? You need to work with all these different bodies and all these different people getting all these different looks. So I think, yeah, Ireland as a whole would progress a lot more if fighters did try cross training a lot more.
100%. Like you're saying, you've got so many fights so far. Is there any, like, I'm going to ask you, it's going to be 3 questions. So it's going to be, what's your favourite performance to date? What's a fight that you've learned from the most? And what's your favourite finish?
My favourite performance would probably be me Milady fight, Steve Milady. So Steve Milady was, in my opinion, the best fighter to come out of Ireland. He was ranked in Lumpini Stadium. Like, when I had my first C-class fight, he was fighting for a European title. So we fought in the same show, and it was just someone that I've always watched on my come up, you know what I mean? And I got matched against him, and it was like me coming out party type thing, you know? Everyone knew I was good, but everyone didn't think I was at that level. And for me as well, that showed me where I was at. That showed me I belong with the best. Like this, he's fought Sancho, he's fought Runglevy, he's fought all the best Thais in the world. And he's been in there against them, you know? I stopped him in the 4th round due to cuts, the referee stoppage. But that for me was probably my best performance. What was it, sorry?
Finish.
The favourite finish? I don't know. There's a lot of finishes like I've actually the same finish 2 or 3 times. Left up elbow, I caught Natty Dodds, I caught Jack Kennedy, and I think there was someone else. Body shot, sometimes I throw the knee after it and then up elbow. But I've caught that a few times, so I'll give that away. And
then the fight that you learned the most from, and
the
it
Mauy
doesn't.
Fight, yeah.
What?
The Mauy Fight. So that was my first big loss on a big stage. Again, I thought I smelt my shit coming into that fight. I thought I was better than I actually was. This was after the Milady fight and all, so I was on a big high. I was on a huge win streak. I was out there stopping 12 people. I was something outrageous, anyways. And I went into that fight thinking that I was untouchable, and then when I got touched, I didn't know how to deal with it. You know, so when I lost that fight, I just knew I needed to change a few things. It's good to have confidence as a fighter. It is very good to have confidence as a fighter, but you can be overconfident as well. Do you know what I mean? And that's not good. So you see these personas nowadays and the acting, all this. Like, fighters will learn a lot more just sitting back and trying to work by themselves, you know. So yeah, that would have been the biggest learner for me.
Perfect. And there was recently, you've had a mini documentary which is going to be due out soon as well.
A couple of weeks.
How did that feel to have something like that made on you?
Actually very good, yeah. Jeff is actually a very good videographer. He's actually done some really good bits. He done I think it was Cowley's. Remember when he had the takeover?
Oh yeah.
He had it in Salinagadin.
Yeah.
He done some work on that. So that was in COVID. Obviously, you want to create hype as well. But Jeff is actually very smart in it, and he's doing some good bits. Yeah. I'm not going to say too much about the documentary, but it's very good.
Yeah, I was talking to myself. He wants to try to get a screening somewhere, and have
it's gonna. He's after getting a screening somewhere.
So that's going to be something to look forward to. We'll be sharing that when it comes out. And there's another thing. You've got family in fighting as well. How good does it feel to have your brothers in fighting as well?
Great,
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
I'd say it's the same for them, to be honest. No, it is. It's good because we train together, we eat together. Like we do a lot. We've like the same hobbies. We've the same interests. You know what I mean? Like when we're in the house, like I can talk to him about fighting all day. He can talk to me about fighting all day. If he has a fight coming up, we'll sit there and study. You know what I mean? We'll look at how he's fighting, or we'll look at how I'm fighting. We'll try to break things down and stuff. So it's good in that sense. But in the opposite end, I have to watch him fight. Do you know what I mean? I have to coach him. That is so hard. It's very hard to separate the emotion. You know what I mean? Like again, he's my little brother, or he was my older brother. It's very, very hard to separate that. So that, like, for instance, this last week, Sen got hurt with a body shot. I shot all over myself. I wanted to jump in the cage. You know what I mean? I was like get me in there. I'll fight instead of him. You know. So that it's very hard in that sense. That like it's nerve-wracking. But it's good in another sense that like we have the same interests, we have the same hobbies.
And he's staying out of trouble and he's on the straight and narrow as well.
Same
like,
kind of proud.
Like that must be so hard because obviously if you corner lads from the East Age, like David, Dan, whoever else may be here, obviously you're not going to have those emotions. Do you find yourself obviously more?
Kind of do. You do. So when you work with someone for an extended period of time and you blade with them, you build. Like, you get an emotional connection, do you know what I mean? And it's still hard, but it's nowhere near as hard as your family member, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm going to ask you one more question and I'm going to let you go. When it's all said and done as a fighter, Craig Coakley, when people hear that name, what do you want your legacy to be remembered as?
I just want to be known as one of the greatest, not just as a fighter, but as like a person to look up to, as person you can go talk to, as whatever, as a coach one day hopefully. But yeah, I know my name will be remembered in Ireland anyways, but I will get my name to be remembered worldwide, you know, hopefully.
Perfect, and you will do, because obviously there's a lot more to come from you. We're going to see you in one very soon.
This is only the start now, yeah.
Yeah, this is just the new chapter in the book, and it's been an absolute pleasure to meet you.
Thanks very much. Long time coming as well.
It is.